What is going on, guys? Welcome to another FIFA 23 tactics tutorial on the channel for you. I'm Ash, or Brommer18 as always, and today we are continuing our FIFA 23 tactics tutorial series with what is the tutorial that I am absolutely the most excited for out of all of the ones that I have covered so far. This one is going to be really fun to get into. Also a bit of a challenge as well, because today we are talking about total football. I want to talk to you guys about the best tips to create a really successful and enjoyable total football tactic. Now, it's very kind of complicated to kind of explain what total football is, because I think people generally associated with this 3-4-3 system because of kind of the nature of kind of the Cruyff system over the years and Ajax and Barcelona, etc. It's not necessarily that. It's more kind of the philosophy of players being able to kind of cover multiple positions and fill and rotate, and kind of that high volume fluidity of movement as well. So as you can imagine, it's very complicated to kind of replicate in FIFA, but there are ways that we can kind of get it going. And in particular today, I am going to talk about this 3-4-3 because I think this is the one that's a bit more of a novelty and you guys kind of associate with total football more. So we're going to go through the formation, we're going to go through kind of the tactics and player instructions as well. And I'll tell you the best way to kind of replicate this really just extremely entertaining style of football. Before we get into that, I just quickly want to say, if you haven't done so already, check out my Patreon. The link is down below. It's the best way to support the channel, of course, outside of viewing the videos, because you get access to a whole range of fantastic perks, such as exclusive tactics videos that you'll only find on Patreon for FIFA 23, as well as my FIFA 23 custom tactics package with rankings and ratings of every system we cover on the channel, Discord server access, early access to videos, fancy football access, and a whole lot more. You can also get access to kind of votes that will allow you to vote for the next kind of future of the content and different tactics videos that we do want to cover. And on top of that, check out my video games podcast. The link is down below. If you want your video games fix, I think that is the best way to do it. No politics, no rubbish, just straight up video games. So if that is what you're looking for, do go and check that out as well. With that being said, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload, and let's get into it. So then, first things first, as I said already, we are going to go through this kind of 3-4-3 system. I think that's the one we're going to hone in on, because like you say, this one is what you guys kind of associate with, but obviously it doesn't have to be this. You can go with 4-3-3s, etc., and kind of these systems that allow you to have that kind of positional fluidity. But really, with regards to the 3-4-3, it's what kind of creates this the best, because generally what would happen is a centre-back would step out and join the midfield. Obviously, you can't replicate that on FIFA. So the best way to kind of do it is with this. Go with this 3-4-3 diamond that you'll find at the bottom here, and then basically change the right and left midfielder so that in this case they are left and right central midfielders, and that is really good because it gives you this narrow diamond. Obviously, it's unlike any other system that you are going to find on FIFA, and it's give you that numerical advantage within the central areas of the field. It's also going to allow you to get that overlap of the right and left centre backs that we'll talk about a little bit later on as well. Tactically, what do we have? Well, we want things that are obviously going to match that philosophy of the total football, and part of that was this extreme press. You're going to want constant pressure. A lot of people shudder a little bit when you see constant pressure, but it can be done without being an absolute drain on your stamina. One of these is that we're not going to have forward runs on. We're also not going to have fast build up on. As I've mentioned before, those are the two things that you absolutely do not want to pair with constant pressure in order to save that stamina. But you do need that because it is a relentless extreme press. And with regards to the other presses, press after possession loss and on heavy touch, generally it's going to be too passive for this total football style. It's aggressive, it's this vertical possession minded system, ultra attacking, and so you have to have constant pressure. The width, in order to complement that press, you can actually look for something between the 40 and 30 region, which is balanced. It's going to stretch the players out a little bit more. Yes, you do want to be compact, but you also want to complement that press, and you've also got this narrow midfield 4 and a back 3, which obviously, is, as I said, is very rare. So you're going to be able to, you get a little bit more license to stretch that out a little bit more. With the depth, it needs to be a high line, so anything 70 and above. I would personally go all the way up to 100 because it's going to be an extreme kind of attacking system, as we've already mentioned, so you may as well go the whole way. Obviously, you're going to need to pair this with fast centre-backs. In this case, with Ajax, you've got the likes of Bassi, you've got Yuri and Timber as well, fast defenders. And if you want to kind of convert these guys like Vindal and Sanchez to centre-backs, you know, they're fast as well. Offensively, build-up play and chance creation. This needs to be slow build-up and possession all the way. You don't want forward runs. One, obviously, because of the stamina issue, but two, because it's going to become too counter-attacking orientated. And that's not what you're looking for. You want that possession, players to show for the ball, and you're going to be able to create any kind of fluidity and movement with regards to the player instructions that we'll talk about a little bit later on. Players in the box should be anything between 5 and 8. Again, this is more down to personal preference, but generally what's going to play into this formation itself is having that number of players in the box roughly, so anything between 5 and 8 should do you fine. Let's talk about player instructions then. This is where we're really going to get to the meat of it, because this is going to allow you to create that true total football style tactic with lots of fluidity of movement and positional rotation, and that is what we're trying to create with that philosophy. The goalkeeper, obviously you're going to want to be on sweeper keeper because you're playing that high line. And then something that I would actually think you should consider is having the right and left centre back on overlap. Again, what would happen obviously with the kind of regular 3-4-3 that Johan Cruyff kind of utilised would be the centre back would step into the midfield. So as a result, these guys would actually have been fullbacks and they would still look to support attacks. With them on overlap, this is a good way to really do that. Overlap will work depending on when you get the prompt. So when the wide players invert with the ball, they will then join the attack. And this is going to give you, with regard to those centre-backs, positional fluidity and allow them to kind of step out more and kind of cover more areas. What you're looking from the defensive midfielder is that deeper line playmaker role. So the most important thing, ignore kind of these things, these are what you kind of prefer. The most important thing is that with position freedom, you have your defensive midfielder on deep line playmaker to get him roaming around. Lots of kind of movement there, and it's going to enable you to play out from the back with him. And then with the two central midfielders, something that is very, very important and integral to this system and kind of embodies this philosophy that we keep talking about with regards to the movement is this one here, positioning freedom on free roam. You're going to get so much movement from these kind of midfield four, because of the fact we've got deep line playmaker and free roam on, and it's going to really enable you to make sure that it doesn't stagnate, but also that you've just got that constant variety and versatility between these midfielders. So them on free roam is going to create lots and lots of movement in, well, basically all areas of that midfield third. Something that you should also consider with the central attacking midfielder is to have him on drift wide. Why I would advise this rather than free roam is because free roam, they're going to come deep a lot more. They're going to come a lot deeper. And so then you're going to find lots of gaps in those advanced areas, particularly if you're not playing a false 9. So I think it's actually better to get them on drift wide, because then generally they're still going to be in the more advanced areas, and the way you're going to get that kind of positional variety and versatility from them is coming out into the wide area. So it's going to be more horizontal movements rather than vertical for them. Now with the front three, there are a couple of different things that you can do here. Let's talk about the one that I would personally opt for, and it's probably the most common, is you can have the striker on false 9 and then have the two wingers on kind of cutting side and getting behind. So that's how you complement them. He'll drop off, really crowd out that midfield, and then the two wingers as that goal threat will obviously invert and penetrate the back line, and they will complement that false 9. A really good way to do that. So again, you've got lots of kind of versatility from all of those players because they're making both horizontal and vertical movements. What you can also do, if you'd prefer your striker to stay up front, you can have him getting behind, which I would advise rather than mix attack. You'd want him penetrating. And then one of the wingers you might actually prefer rather than to have them getting behind as well, so you don't have all three attackers running in and make it too counter-attacking orientated. You could actually have them on either stay wide to create that width, or you can have them on free roam, again to create that versatility. What that will do is, let's say with the central attacking midfielder, you got him on drift wide, you've then got the winger on free roam. They're going to like switch positions, and that's a really good way of replicating that total football philosophy, because you're going to get those interchanges, and it's just going to mix that up a little bit as well, so that both of your wingers aren't on the same. So that's another way that you could go about replicating these three attackers. So obviously, as I've said, it's very, very tough to replicate that total football kind of style. It's tough even to explain it really to you guys. It's not just about the formation. There's a whole range of things that go into total football. It's more a philosophy, that kind of ultra attacking, vertical, possession based system, as I've already mentioned. But there are elements that you can do in order to get that kind of versatility and those ultra attacking kind of principles within this system, particularly with this 3-4-3 formation that is obviously kind of become synonymous with total football these days. But it doesn't have to be 3-4-3. You can also go for the likes of a 3-4-3 if you wanted to as well. With that being said, I think I'm going to finish it there. If you've got any questions, which you most likely do, hit them in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to get back to them. I try to reply to as many comments as I possibly can. Check out my Patreon. The link to that is down below. Lots of fantastic perks and rewards in there, as I've already spoken about. And I just want to say thank you to all of the people who have kindly decided to support me on Patreon so far. You guys, as I said before, are the real MVPs. So thank you so much for that and keeping the channel going. YouTube just gives you nothing really, doesn't pay much at all. So Patreon is what's enabling me to kind of justify continuing this. So thank you so much to all of you choosing to support me. Make sure you guys to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload a video. And check out my video games podcast. As I mentioned, no politics, no BS, no rubbish on there, just straight up video games. So do go and check that out. Get it on all of your regular podcasting apps. With that being said, we are going to finish it there. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. And until the next video, I will see you soon.